Big sigh. Oh, I forgot to change the title. Hold on. Hi, everybody. It's Practicing Critical Thinking. Give me a moment to fix that. Hey, it's me, Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and today is Practicing Critical Thinking. I need to fix that. Oh, Practicing Critical Thinking. Sorry. I'm not okay. 4 of you know this. Some of you are now just learning it the hard way. Sorry. I'm having a really tough time with the audiobook for my new book, Customers Know You Suck. I'm living the book. I'm living with a product that super sucks, and I'm struggling with trying to get things done, and technology is working against me. So I'm living it, and I'm not okay. But worst case scenario is the audiobook is late. It will come. So sorry that I had the wrong title of the show and I'm all over the place. So thanks to all of you for your patience. It's Practicing Critical Thinking. We may not get the audience I usually get. The machines are opposing you. I know. It's tough. I think I've wasted 3 or 4 full days of work, plus the time of some very nice volunteers who I appreciate very much, who have been listening to files that are constantly wrong for bad reasons. So I'm just going to breathe. And we'll do some critical thinking. And unfortunately, I can't stay late today. I have a call right at the end of the show. And y'all sent me a pile of stuff, so we're just going to have to do speed critical thinking on everything today. Thanks for everybody who donates to the channel. I definitely had some chocolate chips today, and I appreciate all of you, really. Thank you so much. Even you, Stream Elements bot. So let's take a look at what y'all sent. We do have a bit of a running theme today. It appears to be Teresa Torres. So let's take a look at what we've got. First, people sent in this Iona Talks video, and I didn't want to run it, but luckily YouTube now has a viewable transcript. So also the person who sent it didn't tell me what they wanted me to talk about from it, so I'm going to assume it's this part where she says and again, I'm going by the transcript, which may be incorrect, but I don't want to play the video since that, I don't want to play the video. What makes things hectic and stressful and difficult for a lead UX or a senior UX once your seniority grows? So at least in my current situation, I think the biggest challenge is that you are the UXR lead that leads an entire working group. You're the lead that's supposed to hold this wealth of knowledge for an entire group, and a lot of my direct stakeholders are also at the senior or senior staff level, which means they also have their own direct reports who are individual contributors who are actually doing the work. Almost every company that I've been in, regardless of the size of the company or of the maturity, UXR is always understaffed, and the challenge this causes is inevitably we're always overworked because on the one hand, we're in charge of strategizing with the entire team and with our senior stakeholders, and on the other hand, we're also wearing the hat of individual contributors, and we actually have to do research. I enjoy doing both, but I cannot be doing both because I only have limited time and bandwidth. I have to pick and choose, and to be very frank and transparent, to get myself into the next level of UX research seniority, I also have to come up with very foundational strategic insights, which means a lot of heads down time. No meeting time, just work time. It's a big luxury to have, especially on days like this. All my other time is filled by meetings. I know this sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not really complaining. I'm communicating a reality that the not so satisfying and fun side we have to deal with and the struggles we have to deal with in our work if you're growing as a UXR. So I'll just stop here because I'm short on time today. She's absolutely right. And whether or not she's complaining, it is a real problem. So the question is, what is being done about it? If she is a leader or a lead or of some sort, what has she tried to do about it? She's saying she tries to block off her calendar and blah, blah, blah. If every company she's ever worked at has too few researchers, and many of us would agree there's always too few researchers. What are any of the leaders doing about it? If she's a leader, I would hope that she's actively fighting for this, but she's blocking off her calendar. So I would want to know more about what she has done as a leader to talk to her management and fight as a leader for more UX resources. So yes, what she's saying is true, but I also wish I knew what she's doing about it. And if she eventually gets to it, then I missed it because I don't enjoy her videos, so I'm not watching them. Let's go to the next one. This is... Can I opt out of cookies? Oh boy. Well, look at these, everybody. Yeah. Oh, so much legitimate interest, right? Well, I'll just say reject all. And let's see if I can still read the article. Okay, so this article is from a few days ago, and it says why Agile needs to take over management itself. Now, obviously, we see this a lot from different areas. Usually, product is saying we have to be product-led and everything is about product. Engineering says we have to be engineering-led and everything has to be agile, whatever that means. People can't even agree on agile. So I would imagine that I haven't read the article, and also I know that Forbes is often pay to play. So I don't know if this person was genuinely chosen by Forbes because of the quality of the content or because there is a business deal behind the scenes. So you never know that. It's hard to know with Forbes, and they've lost a lot of credibility once that became more known. So, the age of Agile has not arrived. So we've been doing it for 20 years, but we're still not doing it. Well, why not? Fake Agile. Okay, so we're not even Agile when we're trying to be Agile, but this person wants to extend it to management. And this is quotes from other people. Department of Defense especially hates Safe Agile. Reinventing the concept of management. Does the concept of management need to be reinvented? So who is he fighting here and why? Let's stop fighting the little battle to win the acceptance of the label Agile. I think Agile is one acceptance. It's all we hear about, and it's shoved down our throats. So I don't think that's the problem. Let's win the all-important war of getting the substance of Agile incorporated in the concept of management itself. I don't get it. So I hope is this actionable? Is he going to tell us how to do this? Radically different set of principles. Different principles. We don't have steep hierarchies. We have horizontal networks of competence. There's a hand gesture that goes with this, but I really shouldn't be making it. So I have to say, without somebody telling me exactly what to look at in a very long article, I think Agile is still trying to tap dance and sell its way into stuff, and they try to have business agility and management agility and engineering agility, and people keep throwing the word agility at things, and I don't think it means what you think it means. If we still have fake Agile, I would not be in a rush to try to make other things agile if our first attempts at Agile haven't been going well. So I'm not sure that was meaningful, actionable, or helpful, other than this guy has a book he wants you to buy. So do I, by the way. It's called Customers Know You Suck. This one's for me. I saw this brought up a couple of times on LinkedIn, and I wanted to talk about it. There is this technique, which I guess you pronounce Feynman. Is anyone? And it says it's the best way to learn anything. So great. Tell me how I can learn anything. And evidently, the best way to learn anything is step 1, learn it. Step 2, explain it to a child. Step 3, reflect. Step 4, organize and review. This to me does not pass meaningful, actionable, or helpful, yet I keep seeing it invoked in LinkedIn posts lately. It's having some sort of spike, and I don't get it. It reminds me of the article I wrote about how Jared Spool gives you 5 easy ways to become an expert in a topic, and of course, step 1 was become an expert in a topic. Like, it doesn't make sense. This is definitely not a technique to learn, because step 1 is learn, and then explain it to it. Like, I don't think this passes critical thinking, so I'm not sure why this is so popular. Cherish says, this looks like Farnham Street blog. Yes, I just grabbed the first thing I could find that said this technique that seemed to explain it, but I've looked up other explanations and they're quite similar, so I don't think this is because of the particular blog that I just found in a Google search result. But this appears to be this technique, and the technique to learn is step 1, learn. So I'm not having it, and I'm going to need somebody to explain this to me. Otherwise, it just seems quite strange. Next one. I apologize. I will not be able to pronounce this person's name well. David says, Feynman did a series of lectures. He was a physics professor. There's a lot more to it than this snippet seems like an out-of-context snippet. That's possible, David, but like I said, when I Googled it and looked at other blogs and resources, they had all boiled it down similarly, so I don't know if everybody's misunderstanding it or something else, but it appeared to be like, hey, if you want to learn something, step 1, learn it. Step 2, know it so well that you can explain it at a child's level to a child. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting technique for reflecting if you're able to simplify a topic, but it doesn't seem to be a technique for learning a topic. So there you go. Okay, so this person says, if your company has a separate team for user research, use it not to outsource talking or observing users, but rather use them to get enabled on how you can do the same. So that sounds like the democratization or dilution of UX, which I don't recommend. So right off the bat, I certainly don't agree with this person, but other people will. And then he says, the biggest fallacy is that customer centricity is only the user research team's mandate. I've never heard that, so I'm not sure that I would say it is the biggest fallacy out there. Maybe democratization is, but I've never heard anybody say this, so I don't think it's the biggest fallacy. And I certainly believe that customer centricity is for everybody at the company to have in their hearts and minds and work, but that doesn't make user research everybody's work. It doesn't make product management everybody's work. It doesn't make marketing or customer support everybody's work. So let's not confuse customer-centric and being focused on the customer with who does the user research. It is not user researchers' job to enable others to do their job, and in fact, we just heard Iona in her YouTube video, we read that she has no time to manage her team and to do the work herself. How will anybody have time to manage the team, do the work themselves, and supposedly teach others to do this? It's just unreasonable, and it's not the best use of a researcher's time. They should be spending their time strategizing, doing the research, etc. So, then he says, a dedicated user researchers team, more often than not, important goal is evangelizing research and enabling everyone to do a baseline quality of user research. No, I disagree. So no. And this died in the algorithm, and he has almost no followers. So I don't know who sent this to me. It seems like maybe he sent it. I mean, I don't know who sent this to me, but ultimately I really don't agree with it. And is it actionable? I guess if he wants to sell you on democratizing and cutting down the value of user research, you could try that, but why would you do it? I think user researchers have much better things to do than to try to teach other people to do their highly specialized jobs. All right. We've got a Medium article that I haven't seen yet, and it's called, this seems to be the title, Why Data Analytics is Our Design Team Morning Routine at Lydia. And he describes himself as a digital creator and product designer. So, okay. How reordering 3 fields took us from 80% to 94% conversion. I hope ethically. They're using amplitude. Step 1, define the current status of our product. Status in one way. In what way? The best way to start a new project is to understand how it currently works, what works well and what doesn't. By leveraging the so he doesn't tell you how to do that, you got to do that. By leveraging the existing analytic events or implementing new trackers, we cleared the way for a limpid overview. Limpid? Is that the right word here? Of the current state of our loan simulation experience. Why are we... I guess you're simulating a loan so people could see how the loan would be repaid before they commit to it. I'm guessing. Thanks to this analysis, we discovered that we lost around 20% of our users before they even see the offer. Seemed like hidden friction was to be discovered. The steps to access our offers are quick. 1 amount input, 2 selects, and 1 radio button. So I guess that's this. Input the amount on its own screen. And then it says simulate my loan. But then I guess you don't simulate the loan. It asks you more questions. So that's a little bit deceptive. I guess I could see people kind of giving up there because it said simulate my loan and then it didn't take them to the loan information. Or did it? Not sure. Let's see. Friction. The data finds the problems and designers spent their energy finding why friction exists and how to solve it. That's certainly one way to find problems. It shouldn't be your only way. So the data and analytics shouldn't be the only way that we find problems. And in many cases, we still need qualitative research to tell us more of the who, what, where, when, why, how. Because just because this guy knows that 20% of their users are leaving this flow prematurely doesn't mean that he knows why, which means that to fix this problem or friction or whatever, he might essentially be guessing at a solution. Now, he might guess really well, and that's cool, or he might guess incorrectly. I'm assuming this is a story of guessing well, but let's see if he involves other research to better understand why people left at that point. Because again, the data can tell us people are leaving at that point, but we don't know why, so we don't totally know what to fix. The data tells us about paths people love. But we made the paths. They don't have a choice. And the designers look at the why. Well, the why would be qualitative research. And how, that's to provide a dedicated... Okay. Build a KPI-oriented solution and set a killer tracking plan to follow the results. So this is really a product manager's dream because the user is really just the number. The user is, can we make more people get to this next screen? We're going to track the metrics and have KPIs that do it. But it looks like we haven't really involved users. It doesn't sound like we talked to a user. It doesn't sound like we observed a user. It sounds like we're just going to guess what they need and put some numbers and tracking in place to see if we can raise the numbers. And I think there's always ways to raise numbers, and that's cool, but did we create more satisfaction? You know, I wonder if he'll tell us if more people followed through on the loan, or did they just get to the next screen and we go, yay, they got to the next screen, and then that's it. The fields are not organized in an order that fits the user point of view. So again, they're guessing now because these are their possible reasons based on their previous design experience. So again, this is what's sometimes called genius design, which is I don't need to talk to users. I'm just going to go by what I know, what I think, or things I've done previously and try to do my best guess. So again, I don't recommend guessing. Guessing is not plan A. Guessing is definitely in case of emergency. Dead ends are breaking the user journey. Now again, none of this to me sounds really groundbreaking. Hypothetically, you should be reviewing your own product for anything that sucks. Anything that invokes the 4 horsemen of bad UX: frustration, confusion, disappointment, and distraction. So Even if he didn't have the data and the analytics and all that stuff, you could still look at your own flow, do your own heuristic and walkthrough and other audits and say, oh, the fields don't seem organized as well as they could be. We've got dead ends. We shouldn't have dead ends. So, I mean, it's good that he found these, but I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking, but how did these get there in the first place? How did he design this? Did he design a flow with dead ends? How did we get here? I'm worried. So ultimately, this is a little too long for today because I do have a hard stop at the end of the hour. So, you know, always good to have data. I'm not against him having data, but it does seem that a lot of this was guessed and maybe guessed well. But, you know, always try to put in that extra effort where something looks like it's, if you know something from data, see what you can find out from other voice of the customer and other qualitative research that you can do so you really understand the problem, you define the problem well, and you'll have a better chance of solving it right the first time. Okay. Congrats to him for guessing well. Okay, this is from a year and a half ago, and it's called Design Thinking is Killing Our Home Planet. Now, when I see things like that, my initial reaction is this is probably going to say that design thinking has some sort of greatness, but it's not sustainable. Whenever I see killing planet, those are usually some trigger words representing sustainability. So let's see what we've got here. We've become so good we discard and disregard everything that is not relevant to solving our customer problems. The planet is usually... Oh, we've seen articles like this before. Right. Okay. So, all right. This is... So if we've... Okay. I think where this article is going, because we've seen other ones like this, though not this one before. I think where this one is going is because we're so good at coming up with high-tech solutions, we're killing the planet because we're just making more pollution because of deliveries and more waste because you were going to buy another phone next year and now this is waste. So I'm not sure why this person is blaming design thinking for planned obsolescence or for pollution. You know, I'm not sure. But so design thinking, evidence-based design, user-centered design, human-centered design. So, okay, so I'm starting to feel a little bit Stephanie Walter here, like I'm reading an article that is full of buzzwords for the SEO, because I feel like I'm reading more SEO than I'm reading actual substance. Anybody else feeling that way? Anybody? Is it just me? I know we have a small audience today, partially from holidays, and I had the wrong title on the video. We solve problems. Design thinking is successful. Businesses found a way to improve their products by giving customers what they desire. I don't even think we are doing that. That's why I wrote a book called Customers Know You Suck. I don't think we're as good at giving customers what they desire. I don't think we're as good as that as we think. So what's the point and what can I do about this? How do I save the planet? So if design thinking is killing the planet, and let's say I'm into design thinking, how do I save the planet? I think we're finally getting there. David says, it's got a triggering headline and SEO dense seems like clickbait for ad revenue. Yeah, I mean, the longer you stay on a Medium article, the more money he gets. So that's this. My guess is it's that. What if there's a better way to innovate, putting the planet at the center? Whoa. Ooh, hold on. I don't think he ever told us. He just says, what if there was a better way to innovate? Here's our challenge, be more planet-centric. Oh, boo, boo. Who sent me this garbage? This failed. This failed meaningful, actionable, and helpful. I'm out of here. Okay, because we're like half done with the show and we have so much to get to. This is from a couple of months ago. 15 working NPS follow-up questions that get the job done. I wonder what the job is. David says, I wish I had the kind of budgets to solve problems at a planetary scale. Yeah, totally agree. And also, while I know that I'd like to do my part for the planet, I can't seem to stop chemical companies from dumping things into rivers. Like, we have to remember that so much of what's going wrong on the planet is more at the corporate and governmental level than did you and I call for a food delivery. Okay. NPS, so we're going to get the job done. What is the job? I don't know. It's the most significant metric to gauge your customers' loyalty. Disagree. I've got a lot on that in my book. So NPS is a conversation starter. Okay, so what is NPS? Long thing. Blah, 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 blah. Why should you focus on following up? Following up. Where's the 15 things? Okay. 15 follow-up questions that get the job done. Not sure what the job is, but let's take a look. We'd like to know what was lacking or where we disappointed you in giving you the perfect experience, period. And I guess we need quotes at the beginning. This is one of the greatest NPS follow-up questions to include in your survey. Sure, but what I always say about it, yeah, and David says NPS. Arr. Oh, do I have the stuff on the screen twice? No, so okay, good. So, yeah, so again, you can do that, but who's going to go and read through all of those? Are you just plugging them into something that does semantic evaluation and gives you some keywords? Are you really reading these? And more importantly, are you taking action on them? Because you can add this to your survey and you can get answers, but then what are you doing about it? Because so many companies don't take the time to go back and fix things or reinvent things. They just go, maybe NPS will be better next month. We'd love to learn which features impressed you the most. That's cool, but it doesn't help our product get better. We'd like to know how we can improve your experience. I think that was question 1. What was lacking or where were you disappointed? Madeline says, full of loaded words. Perfect experience. Also, good point. Thank you for that critical thinking. I blew by that. Why didn't we give you a perfect experience? I think Madeline's right. I think it sounds like you expected too much from us. What are you expecting here? Perfection? And that could, I think, make people feel a little weird. Oh, a pop-up wanting to put me on a mailing list. Said nobody ever. I don't want that. How can we improve your experience? Again, that's a better version of question 1. Are we able to meet your expectations? I think the survey answers that. But again, qualitative research will tell you that better than a survey. Why did you choose us over our competitors? Okay, that's more like question 2. What do you like about us? It sounds like these are the same questions over and over, just slightly reworded. What do you like least about our product? Okay, we've done this already. Would you like to show us some love and spread the word on social media channels? That's not really a survey question with an answer. Hypothetically, the NPS is the answer, since NPS is usually how likely are you to tell someone about our company. So all in all, this seems, this doesn't pass my test. This doesn't seem like, I mean, you can always ask people, what could we improve? I think that's always a good question. But ultimately, to me, NPS is just a way for us to realize what qualitative research we need to do, because we have unanswered questions and they're less likely, to be answered thoroughly in a survey. Plus, a lot of people might not want to type out this stuff. Okay, we've got a back-to-back from Teresa Torres. I understand why people would send me this stuff because she is a product person who is heavily for the democratization and the dilution of UX. And so she has a lot of suggestions, especially around how product managers should be doing UX research and interviews and stuff like that. It's really endlessly disrespectful to the specialization that is UX research. When we think about what some people have gone through to become UX researchers, again, it's just incredibly disrespectful. So let's take a look at, this is a blog post from her website. And it says, when you talk to customers on a weekly basis, who should you be talking to? And the answer is anybody. So again, it sounds like Teresa herself might not be an expert in user research. I'm wondering if she's an expert in market research, but ultimately recruiting is important, and understanding who our target audiences are, our sweet spots, our edge cases, or maybe a desired customer group that we haven't been able to grab yet. You can't just grab anybody. That doesn't really make sense, and that's not the way we do this. As you build your interviewing muscle and start talking to customers regularly, interview for variation. Power users, first-time users, active users, disengaged users. Certainly, but again, this doesn't seem like a proper approach to research recruiting. Now, again, if she doesn't see this as research or we don't see this as research, then we have to call it something else. It needs some sort of other weird, wacky, fun name that won't make people confuse this with UX or CX research. I recommend talking to any customer. If you've never talked to a customer, don't worry about optimizing who to talk to. I, of course, would tell you, worry about that. I want you to talk to whoever it's easiest to talk to. So I'm not too sure how you gauge easiest. Is it the person who is easiest to find? Now, many companies make the mistake, and I see this all the time, and this might be what she's talking about, and I forgot to write about this in the book now that I think about it, but many companies just go out and start with or stick with only talking to their happy customers. Got to write that down, make a good blog post. So that is a mistake, and I think that especially if a product manager is uncomfortable with interviewing or looking to hear that we're great, very often the easiest person to talk to is the happy customer, because then you don't have to face hard questions or a difficult conversation. Shweta also points out that these are demographics and not psychographics. David says, sounds like this is the what not to do article, but the author doesn't know better. Well, no, the author is a product manager who wrote a book about product management, but is trying to get product managers to be UX researchers and user researchers. And the product managers, some of them love that, but of course, we don't love that because we see the flaws in this. Will she say anybody with disabilities? Doubt it. Shweta says dog fooding shouldn't be confused with research. Yes, that's also very true. Thank you. Don't worry about annoying your customers. Don't speak to the same customer every week. It all comes down to how you approach your interviews. If you go to your customers and say, this sentence isn't even finished, look at all my great ideas. What do you think about this and what do you think about that? Well, I would say the end of that sentence is, that's the wrong way to speak to customers. We never say that. If your interviews follow this format and they're all about your product, yes, you're going to burn out your participants. You know, to me, this seems like SEO. It seems like trying to get product people excited about taking over UX jobs and just pushing her book, you know, which she's been very good at. She certainly has done a good job pushing her book. Product managers are eating this stuff up, and hopefully we can get my book out there because I'm saying the opposite. So won't you please help spread the word about customers know you suck? If you do that in your interview, your customer's going to love the experience. Story-based interviewing. You're not talking about the product, you're collecting your customer's story. So ultimately, we have someone who I don't think has a background in research, though we can always check LinkedIn, trying to tell people how to do research. And I would say this is highly flawed and really unfortunate because, again, poor evidence, poor data, poor techniques can set teams and projects up for potential failure. And I know some product managers love the idea of taking over UX jobs, but this will eventually, someone will notice that this is not going that well. Someone sent in another post from Teresa's website, so here she is again. Representing customer segments on your opportunity solution tree. We did opportunity solution tree another week. People keep sending me her. I don't know why. I haven't found anything redeeming about what she said. And we even found some bullying and gaslighting in one of her tweets that somebody sent one week. So again, I'm super not a fan. So let's see. What's the point here? Can we tell? It's easy to get overwhelmed interviewing customer after customer. How do you make sense of the data? Okay, so of course a professional researcher would be using various techniques and talents to do their various steps and stages of analysis and synthesis. Let's see what she recommends. Teams get stuck structuring the opportunity space because the ecosystem is complex. I don't see what that has to do with making sense of the data. Being customer-centric is an ideal, but you know who the customers are and what their needs are. Okay, no shit, Sherlock. Deciding, and by the way, Continuous Discovery is her book title, and it's the way that she tries to talk about the way product should be done and product managers doing research. Deciding who to interview every week is key. Opportunities are written as first-person statements like I wish or I need. This doesn't sound like something we should do. And we still don't know how to make sense of all the data. So she started out with how do we make sense of all the data. It looks like a very long article. I don't know if we're going to learn that. And boy, is it full of links. So this is just SEO alphabet soup. Will we learn how to make sense of data? Uncovering potential customers. I don't get this, and I really don't feel that we should be giving her any more time. You know, there's some people who we should just ban from this show because their stuff doesn't stand up to logic, to reasoning. Again, it's extremely disrespectful to the experts and specialists who know what interviewing customers and research should look like, and I'm not too sure why we're giving space to someone who pretty much wants to put our profession out of business. No thank you. No gracias. I'm sure she will make plenty of money off of this and live well and retire well, but, you know, at what cost? And can she sleep at night? Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't care. All right, let's see what else we got. This was Erica Hall, and this was something Erica did in response to people fighting about democratization. Now, Erica is pro-democratization and has been for years, so we have to remember that she is writing this possibly from that perspective. We know that her website offers courses for companies on how non-researchers can learn research, and I haven't read just enough research, but I've always been afraid from the title that it takes a look at doing the least research possible and not the best research possible. Malika says an article like this spreads confusion to newbies. That's true too. Yeah, thank you. Erica drew this, and I thought Abby Covert should have looked at it and talked about it as a diagram. So she's saying that this is a research process model. And so she starts with clarity. Goal. What are we trying to accomplish? roles, who is doing what. That's the whole problem. That's where the democratization problem is. The democratization problem isn't over here in code the notes or do we want qual or quant. The democratization problem is here. And I thought she was creating this in response to the democratization argument, but when I looked at it, I felt like it didn't address the democratization argument. So I'm not too sure how that's relevant here. So who's doing what? Where are we focusing? What do we need to decide by when? What data and experience do we already have? What do we think we already know? Where are our areas of uncertainty? So again, I think ultimately this map is going to seem like no shit Sherlock to many experienced researchers who will say, yeah, I was kind of doing this anyway. She just diagrammed it. So I don't think there's going to be necessarily anything here that she has invented, even though, you know, she's mapped it and she's put her name on it and her logo on it. But I think this was stuff that we were already doing and she's just drawn a picture of it. So of course anybody could do that and put their name and logo on it. Questions, what do we need to know? Priority, focus, category. Yeah, so again, I'm not too sure of the purpose of this. I couldn't tell who the target audience was because an experienced researcher goes, yep, I'm already doing all this. I didn't need this. And a newbie researcher goes, okay, this looks interesting, but I don't know how to do any of these things. I don't know how to prioritize. I'm not sure how to collect the right questions. I don't know how to pick qual or quant. And the diagram doesn't help you with that. So I'm not too sure who this is for. But here she is talking about democratization. And of course, she's using a lot of the words that we have to use our critical thinking around. There's been a lot of yelling. So again, first notice that she's using a word that implies emotions and drama. So now she could say, there's been a lot of discussion. That would be a more neutral word. But when you say there's been a lot of yelling, then you are ramping up the drama. So make sure you're noticing that. About gatekeeping, and there's hand-wringing about the potential for low-quality research. Now again, she could say there are concerns about the potential for low-quality research. That would be neutral. But when you say yelling and when you say hand-wringing, you show your cards that you are minimizing these. You are belittling them. You're making fun of them. Oh, people talking about gatekeeping, they're just yelling. And potential for low quality research, oh, that's just hand-wringing. So again, people choose words very carefully. I know I do. So when you see this, you have to remember that it's being written specifically to make you feel and think a certain way. Now, I do the same thing too. I write things to make you feel and think things a certain way. So you want to make sure that you're recognizing how people do this. The discussion gets shouty. So again, we're bringing in yelling again, even though I technically haven't heard anybody yelling about democratization. I've certainly heard discussions, but again, by saying yelling and shouty, we're making it sound like people are just being emotional, dramatic, or hysterical, which again has the quality of belittling it or making it seem like it shouldn't be as credible. If you don't stop to define your terms and clarify what type of research to what standard and for what purpose, much of our work involves helping organizations create or develop their research or design practices. Shweta says she seems triggered. Yeah, it's interesting because remember, she has a horse in the race. If she's selling courses that are pro-democratization, or if she's got a book that is kind of pro-democratization, then she has a horse in the race. I have a horse in the race, and that my book is anti-democratization. David says it's an implication that the counter-argument is irrational. Yeah, really well said, David. Exactly. It's setting you up to not totally believe these people who are just shouty and yelling. Much of our work involves helping organizations create or develop their design or research practices, so I thought I'd try to help out. So remember, she's saying that her company goes in to help organizations create or develop their design and research practices, but I've seen courses on her website that appear to be research for non-researchers. So this might be someone, I don't know anything about her, I've never spoken to her, this might be someone who has a horse in the race and makes money from democratization, because let's face it, there's no money to be made by anti-democratization, but there's a mountain of money to be made by democratization, so much so that I've seen some anti-democratization people go to pro-democratization so they could sell courses, training, and consulting. Sad but true. I don't think they'll be back on the show. But the problem is that she sets up the idea that this document or diagram has something to do with democratization, and that we're going to better understand, because she's talking about stop and defining your terms, clarify the research, and what are your standards. So where are the standards on this document? I don't see them. Where are the terms definitions? I don't see them. So again, democratization just seems to live in this little box, who is doing what. So I don't think that this has really done that. She's also, I think, in the anyone can cook bucket, and we know that that's crap. How to use this diagram. If you have to tell me that, the diagram might not be too good. So I'm going to move on. But I did see this diagram. I thought it was just a visual representation of what we were doing anyway, but I didn't think that it helped us with the democratization argument or the democratization debate, shouty or non-shouty. My new book offers a governance model, and to me, that's what was missing. With this document is not what's missing in the democratization debate. I've got a governance model that says if you are going to democratize, despite the 5,000 words I've just written telling you why you shouldn't, here's how you oversee that as an experiment or something you're trying so that you can make sure that you have the right outcomes and standards and training and things like that. So that's what's missing, and this document doesn't help us. Okay, we've got two more. This is the state of UX in 2023, which I guess is psychic because 2023 hasn't started yet, but let's take a look at where we think we're going here. Excuse me. The hottest job in the world? No, the hottest mess. Yep, UX certainly seems like the hottest mess. After a few years of fast growth, layoffs are haunting the industry. Sure. Saving the world? No, saving the business. We keep having to make the case for investing in design. I can't disagree with them. This is true. I'm just going to keep going through this fast. Specialized thinkers versus resourceful makers. I don't think these are the two things in play. Shrinking headcounts increase the demand for generalists and hands-on leaders. I do think that's true. The headline's a little weird, but I do think that's true. I think that people are trying to spend less money and just try to get more jack-of-all unicorns, and I do see a lot more jobs that ask for managers, directors, head of, and who say, and you're going to do the work. But as we just saw from Iona's video in the first thing that we went through today, she's having trouble being a leader and doing the work. So we can say that that's what we want and we can think that saves us money, but she's saying she can't get her work done. So it's short-sighted to try to overwork people and over-hybridize or over-generalize jobs is really just going to lead more and more people to burn out. And we're seeing, I hope they go into it, we're seeing more and more people burning out. So, these are connected. Group thinking versus bias towards action. Too many circular conversations and not enough decision making is undermining design work. Yeah, I don't know if this is their way of saying too many workshops, too many meetings. I would certainly agree, if I'm understanding them correctly, that we have too many workshops, too many meetings, too many, hey, what do you think? And not enough decision making. And we're not doing enough decision making in our own domain. We're often being a little bit weak about that. And we're saying, yeah, like anyone can decide here. What if we focused less on giving each other status updates and did the work? I'm for that. This is one of the better state of UXs these people have ever done. I feel like it's the first time I agree with a surprising amount of it. Thought leadership versus algorithm-driven leadership. Okay, maybe I don't agree here. What are they saying? Social media influencers have taken the spotlight from design researchers and authors, and it's the algorithm driving the design discourse. Because algorithms select what we see. Okay, but I still think that there are authors and researchers, and I still think there are, I don't know. I think this is partially true and partially not true, but like, what do you do about it? I'm shadow banned here on YouTube. I can't increase my influencer-ness. A human-centered present, an inhabited future. Inhabited? What does that mean? Who writes this? I'm not sure what this means, so I'm going to keep moving on. Science fiction and design reality. AI, except AI is still fake. It's just machine learning. It's not true artificial intelligence. I'm sick of hearing about it. Tool for design. Design tools are evolving to make us spend less time moving around boxes and having the right conversations. Not sure I agree with that. David says, sounds like a plot to a bad sci-fi movie. It really does. So do some of the graphics that went with it. Going the extra mile? No. Taking the extra minute? Well, more than an extra minute, but yes, we do need to take more time. Pushing ourselves too hard is breaking us. Well, of course, we have a generalized job where they expect us to do 5 people's jobs. You can't take the extra minute. They fire you. And certainty and uncertainty. So, surprisingly okay stuff in there, but a little bit meh. I don't think we're going to have time to talk about this one, and I think it probably is important to talk about, so I'm going to save it for next time. Let's check the calendar on when next time is. Next Friday, the 16th, and I know it's starting to get into the holiday season, and not everybody is going to be around. You can always watch the archives, but there's been a lot of fire and controversy around this article, around its author, around some of the aftermath of some people who disagreed with her, which now we're not even sure what's the truth of that story. So I don't want to say what is the truth of that story because I don't know. But I would say this one needs, this is a long article with a lot of stuff in it, and I think we should give it a fair walk through. So let's save it for next time. And of course, if you would like to send something in, you can send it to, there's a link at deltacx.com/links, and I will happily show your stuff. Some people just send a link and I have to guess what I'm looking for, and some people give me some context and say, hey, what do you think about what they said here? And that is helpful. So if you enjoy these shows and being a critical thinker, please do subscribe and tell people about the Delta CX channel. We need all the love and bump that we can get since I am still shadow banned here. Remember that we do shows multiple times a week, though we will be slowing it down a little bit for December. But we do have a special show coming up next Saturday, a week from tomorrow. I will be teaching Axure Repeaters live. So if you want to see what shows are coming up, you can wait for me to tell you now, but you can always go to deltacx.com/links and check the Google Calendar. All of the shows are in the Google Calendar. You can add it to your Google Calendar and you will know. So next week on Monday, we've got our Think Out Loud, which I'm kicking around what to do, but if you have something, send it over. Tuesday will be Office Hours with Dr. Nick. Wednesday will be our end-of-year social party. Talk UX if you want to or not. That's going to be in Remo, and the link to it is, I think, on LinkedIn, and it'll be on our Slack and Discord in the live events channel. Of course, our Slack and Discord are free. Please join at deltacx.com/links. There's no charge for these things, just want to see you there. And yeah, that's what's coming up. So thanks to people for joining in. Sorry I wasn't at my best today. I'm extremely frustrated with trying to edit my audiobook because I have some technology that is not working as advertised, and I am still trying to get some help from tech support. Again, worst case scenario, the audiobook is delayed. It will not be canceled, and I could joke that it will certainly be published sooner than my last audiobook, which I never made. So worst case scenario, audiobook delayed. Best case scenario, audiobook ready by Christmas. Starting to think that's not likely. So we'll do my best. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and sending things in and making this a fun interactive adventure. I hope to be in a better mood next week. And yeah, keep sending the stuff and have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are